All right, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
All right, we're ready to start. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Judge Regina Mincy, and we're going to begin our state court, Fulton County State Court Expedited Accusations calendar. This is a calendar for cases in which individuals have recently been arrested and charged with certain misdemeanor offenses. Soon after their arrest, the Fulton County Solicitor General's office has already accused these cases of the offenses brought against them. Excuse me. And these cases have been bound over to the Fulton County State Court. Nevertheless, this will usually be the defendant's initial appearance before a state court judge, so we're able to address several matters, including bond, possible arraignment, or consideration of a possible plea offer if one has been made at this juncture by the state. Let's see, what's the SAP reset date?
March the 23rd.
March the 23rd. That is the reset date. All right, I want to also remind everyone that this whole entire proceeding is being recorded as well as live streamed on YouTube, so govern yourselves accordingly. I want to also remind the defendants that you have certain constitutional rights. The first being that you have the right to remain silent. Anything that you state about the facts, the circumstances, or the occurrences of your case can and will be held against you. You also have a right to have representation at this juncture of the case. And most of you know who your attorneys are by now. And again, listen to your attorneys so that you don't make statements that would be against your interest later in your case. Who do we have first, Deputy?
Yes, position 1, Mr. Bugs.
All right. This is case number 23 CR 001433D, Tyrone Lamar Bugs. Your charge is 1 count of criminal trespass. The offense date is March the 9th, 2023. Pretrial?
15 total. Last arrest was back in May for a suspended license. Before that was 2019, driving without a valid license, suspended registration. Before that was 2012 FTA simple assault. FTA was not prosecuted. And the simple assault was eventually dismissed. And before that was 08 probation. That's it.
All right. State?
Yes, Judge. This case occurred March 9th, 2023 at 587 University Drive. That is the Morris Brown Stadium owned by Clark Atlanta. On this day, officers, along with other staff, were conducting a walkthrough of the facilities. And when they came upon a room that was padlocked with a chain and lock from the inside, officers summoned for someone to get bolt cutters. However, the defendant, Mr. Bugs, unlocked the door and exited the room. He was made aware on February 21st and 22nd that he was trespassed from the property. The state's recommendation on bond is a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services. Stay away from Clark Atlanta University, in addition to whatever trespassing notices that are in place against the defendant. That's
All right. All right, thank you. PD Kim? Is this your case? I think you're still on mute.
Sorry about that, Your Honor. I apologize. We have no objection to signature on bond. Only thing is that we would prefer signature on bond through jail. He's residentially challenged, so we are trying to recommend social worker to have a visit there so that he can provide adequate housing resources. And that's it, Your Honor.
Well, if he's residentially challenged, we might need him to report in so he can find out and know about his court date. Sometimes I've been told whether they have a cell phone or not, or, you know, a post office box for someone or an address of where they can receive mail. Do we have any of that information?
Yes, Your Honor. Actually, I got his baby mother's phone number, so that way he can be reached. And also, he just needs one-time law enforcement officer to escort him to take out the personal belongings from that location. He made an arrangement with a church, local church he has been working from Christmas. He works there every Sunday. They allowed him to come and put his belongings there. And he also has a regular mailing address, First Presbyterian Church at the Peachtree Street. He will get free mailing services as well.
Well, that supposes that or presumes that he's going to go by the church every Sunday. And I hear you saying that. And I know the church will be truthful with him. However, I still have some concerns about notice and him being aware also, you know, and just keeping up with him, you know, through and ordering it through pretrial. But and if we do it with the jail, he's got to keep up with you as well. So I'm just wondering if he's going to do that. Does the state have any thoughts about that?
The state would request pretrial services. He may or may not go to the church. However, if he's on pretrial, then he'll be more required and more inclined to follow the order. So the state would request pretrial services.
Yeah, that's
No
my
objection,
feelings
Your
as
Honor.
well. Okay, so I'm going to grant the $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per judge. And please try to make sure, I hope that social services or a social worker can get to the jail before he's released to speak with him to find some housing or other options for him. I'm going to also order that he stay away from Clark Atlanta University, the whole campus, to stay away from there. I don't believe you're a student there, so or a teacher or anything else, so you have no reason to be there. I don't know the proximity. I don't know the proximity to the church, but I don't understand how he would have belongings at the stadium at Clark Atlanta University.
He says that he left his checks from church to be cashed out. So that's something that he needs to go and take it.
Oh, you believe that check is still there, huh? Yeah. I'm sorry.
How you doing, ma'am? I'm sorry. Yes, I have a check or two at the property there. I can say it can be still there, and I was trying to tell my lawyer, the public defender lady,
Mhm.
I have belongings. You asked how he get there. I've been there for a little time, over 90 days or so, and I had these items of clothes, shoes, or whatnot.
Okay.
But it was
Okay.
made it bad. It was some students.
I don't want you to say too much
Okay.
more. I'm going to believe you that you have some items there, and I hope that they're still there, and I hope your check is there. Your check is there, or checks are there. So I'm going to order a one-time law enforcement escort. Don't go over there by yourself, else you'll end up right back in that chair. But you need to arrange once you're released with the law enforcement there to escort you or meet you over there so that you can get your belongings to be on the property, because otherwise they'll see you and I'm sure they'll call the police to have you arrested. So make sure that you have that one-time law enforcement escort to return to the property to get your personal belongings. I'm going to order no drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons while on bond, except for anything prescribed to you. But stay away from Clark Atlanta, okay? All right, good luck to you. That'll conclude the case.
Okay, Kill.
Position 2, Mr. Glover. Hold on, wait.
This is 23 CR 0001426E, Michael Glover, charged with 1 count of simple battery, family violence. The offense date is November the 15th, 2022. Pretrial.
32 total. Last arrest was in January 2022, where in Georgia. Use of a firearm by a convicted felon during the commission, reckless conduct, 2018 simple assault, cruelty in the first, criminal damage to property, 2nd degree, 2011 probation, another 2011 arrest, misdemeanor possession of marijuana. See 2 holds on here. Well, one of them anyway. He was arrested last month out of Florida, but it was an out-of-state fugitive warrant, probably for Georgia. That's it.
All right. State.
Yes, Judge, this incident occurred on November 15, 2022. The victim in this case is Aaliyah Thompson. Aaliyah is spelled Aliyah. The incident occurred at 2475 Scotbridge Road, Scotbridge Drive, Northwest in Atlanta. On this day, officers responded to a domestic dispute involving the victim, Aaliyah Thompson, where she advised officers that the defendant, Mr. Glover, had struck her in the face with a shoe because he believed that she was acting funny. She was laying down and she was acting funny, whatever that means. He wasn't able to walk around the house also because her daughter was present, so he struck her in the face with a shoe. My office has had some contact with the victim. She maintains that she wants contact with the defendant and she is currently pregnant by the defendant. However, that gives the state some concern about reoffending, as this is not the first domestic dispute that these two have previously had. There's a previous case of simple assault, 18 CP 174406. Another 2018 18 CR 010428A. It's a simple battery involving the victim. Also, there's a felony case of aggravated assault and simple battery against this victim. That number is 22 SC 180746. The note in Odyssey said it's on judicial hold. Therefore, based on the ongoing domestic disputes between these two, the state will request no further contact, as the defendant has a propensity for violence, in particular against this victim. So the state will request a $5,000 cash bond, no further contact, family intervention program, and stay away from the address. And we would also ask the court to sound for the victim, Aaliyah Thompson, if she is on the Zoom call when appropriate. It's nothing further.
All right. I believe I see Aaliyah's iPhone. Is that you, Ms. Thompson, Aaliyah Thompson?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
I can. Do you want
Yes,
to
ma'am.
address- Hold on. Do you want to address the court today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm gonna swear you in first. Raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What would you like to say?
I sent an affidavit in to Miss McLeod, if I said that correctly. I am not in fear of Michael Glover. He's not a threat to me. The altercations that we have had has been a buildup from stress, 4 or 5 different miscarriages. And now we are finally got to the point where I am pregnant with our child, but I have passed my 2-month period where I usually have a miscarriage, and I'm in my 3-month period. It's been a lot of stress going on, and it's a buildup, and a lot of the altercations have stemmed from me starting the altercations. And me not making the best decisions.
All right. And you stated that you're not in fear of Mr. Glover.
No, ma'am, not at all. We
You
live
all-
together and we're married.
You're married?
Yes, ma'am. We're come August 17th to make 4 years that we'll be married.
Okay. Is this your first child or you have other children?
I have 2 daughters. He has 4, but this will be our first child together.
Okay.
Second, you bring the gun back or not?
Excuse
Mr.
me?
Stoller?
Mr.
They were,
Mr.
they're-
Okay.
I'm sorry.
There was someone else that was unmuted. I apologize. Go ahead.
They were never taken from the home.
Okay.
They're still in my home and my safe.
All right. Thank you.
But
Any cross-examination, ASG Young?
Briefly, Judge. Good evening, Aaliyah. I just got a couple questions.
Hi, how are you?
Did
Okay.
you call the police on November regarding this incident?
No, the police wasn't called by myself. No.
Okay. Did the police arrive at your home on this day?
Yes, they did.
Okay. Did you tell police officers that Mr. Glover struck you by with a shoe in the face?
No, I told him that I had threw the shoes. I was throwing shoes at him and he threw the shoe back and the shoe did hit me.
Okay. There's nothing further.
All right. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 47 years old. He has been a resident of Atlanta for some time. He was gainfully employed up until he was arrested in Florida. He and his wife were actually coming back from a Valentine cruise they took to the Bahamas, and he was arrested at the port. They actually came on the ship and arrested him then based on some warrant out of Georgia. And his wife has been trying to get him released since then, Your Honor. So he has been held for some time now. I believe the date of his hold in Florida was sometime on the 17th of February, because as I said, they were coming back from a Valentine cruise. I was able to speak with Miss Thompson, Your Honor, and she tells me that this incident, which happened last year, she had not called the police, and she said when the police came, she told them what had happened, that she was the one who was throwing shoes at him, and he threw one of the shoes back and it hit her. Based on what the warrant says, it sounds like he just walked up to her and hit her in the face with a shoe, but apparently that is not what happened at all, Your Honor. She did, when I contacted her, she was actually at the courthouse, and she did email me an affidavit, which I actually filed into the case, Your Honor. Based on my discussions with her, it's obvious that any so-called cooling down period has long passed between them. They're fine with each other. They were cruising together when all of this happened. She assures me that she's not in the least bit afraid of her husband, and they are married. I noticed the prosecution mentioned some previous stuff that he had, but that happened before they were married, and she can always invoke her privilege as a married woman not to provide any kind of testimony against her husband. That is her right, and she wants to be with him. She's not afraid of him, and as she stated, they're expecting their first child together, and she wants him to be there with her. Based on that, Your Honor, I would ask the court to give him a reasonable bond. They're not in a position to pay a cash bond because he has not been there. Normally, he is the primary provider for that household. He's not been there, so she tells me that it's been a bit hard on her having to pay all the bills by herself because her husband has been incarcerated. So asking them to come up with a $5,000 cash bond is simply going to be no bond for him. So I would ask the court to set a reasonable bond for him with conditions of no further violent contact, which is what Miss Thompson would prefer. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Your Honor, just to intervene for a moment, I am seeing that 22 SC 180746 case that he was arrested on the bench warrant for. That is the reason he is currently, I think that he was picked up from that cruise, is that case has an outstanding bench warrant that was set on, let me just look at the date based on the documents. The bench warrant was signed March 17th of 2022. He is currently being held on no bond status on that bench warrant. In that case, that aggravated assault for which he's currently on bench warrant status does involve the same victim as our case. So currently I'm trying to find out what the bond conditions are of that case so that Your Honor won't give a bond order that actually violates a superior court bond order.
Okay,
I'm looking into that, so I just need another moment.
okay.
Your Honor, if I may, briefly,
Mm-hmm.
this case between the victim and the defendant is a textbook domestic situation. If you would look at the history, it has consistently progressed in the worst way. It started as a simple assault. Now we got a simple battery. Here we are back. Now we got an ag assault, simple battery again. So it is progressively getting worse, and it's even more concerning now that she's pregnant based on the defendant's action and his history. So the state would request the $5,000 cash bond and the no further contact. And I understand that Deputy Falk is also looking to see there may also be bond conditions in place.
Okay,
Your Honor, the purpose of what we're doing is to protect the alleged victim, and she is here. And I believe she has explained to the court what the situation currently is. Sometimes people in relationships, especially in the early stages of their relationship, may have disputes. It happens. But based on what I am hearing from the alleged victim, and certainly from my client, is that they have resolved the disputes that they were having earlier in their relationship, and they're currently doing just fine. If this had happened yesterday or recently, I would have had a different opinion, but this happened some time ago, and this last incident that we are here for, she did not call the police, and based on what she's saying, it was a situation where she threw a shoe at him. So to say that it is progressing, I really don't see that that is progression. Nothing further than that, Your Honor.
all right. I'm going to, well, I did, Ms. McLeod, hear you say that he's 47,
Yes,
but I
he
don't
is.
believe I heard, or did I miss it, his work history or anything?
Yes, Your Honor, he was employed, he tells me, as a, let me look, because we did discuss that. He was working as a security officer, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he tells me. And prior to that, he worked, yes, as a security officer. And prior to that, he was working at Walmart.
Okay. All right, I am concerned about the continuum or the continuous cases that are in the history for these parties and for this defendant. And I just don't understand why we have so many. They're going back to what, 2017, 2018. And that does concern me. And I know that this offense date before us today is from November the 15th. Last year, I do understand that the victim is pregnant at the moment. But I'm going to go ahead and order a $5,000 cash bond. I'm going to order a whose address is this? To 2475 Scotts Bridge. That's the address where the
addresses, Your Honor, and there are
both of them
there as well.
right. Yeah. I'm going to if he makes bond, order him to stay away from that address while on bond. I'm going to order, and because of the children and maybe needing assistance, no further violent contact with Ms. Thompson, but I don't want him to live there. If he gets visitation with the children, that it be precipitated by, or facilitated rather, by third party while on bond. no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And that's all out order at this time.
Thank
Excuse me, Judge, what was the order for the children? Was it third-party transfer or third-party visitation?
Third-party transfer.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. All right, that should conclude this case. Anything else?
No, Your Honor, just to let you know that I, for the life of me, cannot figure out where this case stemmed from, the aggravated assault. It was indicted, he violated, he failed to appear, a bench warrant was issued by the judge, but I can't determine what the original bond conditions were, just that he's currently being held on no bond on that case in the jail. For the violation and for the bench warrant that was issued. But beyond that, I can't make a determination of what the original conditions were. So at this point, you know, I guess we don't have an objection to the conditions. However, with the caveat that because I don't know what the conditions are, I don't know what the judge is going to set. Now that he's on no bond status, the judge can essentially set whatever conditions they see fit.
Mm-hmm. And I imagine it's probably no further contact and stay away. I'm just guessing with no bond. It's probably what it is. I do not want to order contradictory conditions because it's confusing to the parties as well as the victim. And I don't know, Ms. Falk, if I can say no further violent contact unless the other case orders no contact, because I certainly don't want to override that one or have conflicting bond conditions.
Well, Your Honor, as I said, because they bench warranted him, a new bond would have to issue. So I would say that, you know, we can keep an eye on it, whatever the judge determines in the 22 SC aggravated assault case. If we need to go ahead and modify our bond, we can then file for a modification.
Okay, well, let's do that. So that means it'll be a stay away and no further contact unless we find out otherwise and apply for a modification. Is that what you're saying?
The state would prefer no further contact, yes.
Yeah, let me do that. And I'm sorry, Ms. Thompson, if it's a little confusing, but when we have multiple cases, multiple orders, we want to try to stay as consistent as possible so that it does not render anybody in violation of any of the orders at any time. And so I'm going to change my ruling, and I'm sorry, Ms. Strong, to say no further contact and the stay away with the 5,000 cash bond, so that it won't be contradictory. If we find out that the other one allows no further violent contact, then Deputy Falk will let me know and we'll change it to no further violent contact.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Anything else, Ms. McLeod?
You know, and I was just going to say that there is no evidence. I looked to myself to see that there is an order in place which said no further contact. These people have been married since 2018. I believe she tells me in August they'll be married for 4 years. And this alleged incident, not this one that we're here on before, the one that the state raises as being of such grave concern that happened in 2017. So I don't know, they got married after that and obviously have been living together.
I understand. I just want to make sure that we're not going to have any other incidents to come along, because there's quite a few of them, and that concerns me. And I do want the victim to be safe, these children to be safe and in a safe and happy environment. So until I know more, or until I get more evidence or information, I'm going to err on the side of caution right now with no further contact and a stay away Unless we find out otherwise, then we can modify or have a motion to modify those bond conditions to be consistent with the other orders that are in place. I just don't want the orders all over the place, one saying yes, one saying no, and for them to have to decide. So it's better right now. And I know we're not necessarily talking about a cooling down period, but certainly because of the number of cases and the other factors, I'd rather them stay apart for right now. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, we have position 3, Mr. Horton.
Okay. This is 23 CR 001427G, Michael Horton. Charged at 1 count of driving, fleeing, or attempting to elude a police officer. 2nd count of knowingly driving a motor vehicle on suspended, cancel, or revoked registration. Both have the offense date of February 17th, 2023.
You got 10 arrests. Last arrest was 2022, misdemeanor possession of marijuana. In 2015, he got sentenced to 3 years to serve, 7 years probation for armed robbery, ag assault with a deadly weapon, possession of a firearm during the commission, simple battery. It's 13 SC 116939.
Okay, state.
Yes, Judge. This incident occurred on February 17th, 2023. College Park PD observed a Chevy sedan traveling with suspended registration. Upon running the tag, the officer was alerted that the possible driver, the defendant, Michael Horton, was wanted for an aggravated assault and possibly armed and dangerous. The officer, using his lights and sirens, initiated the stop. He made contact with the driver, Mr. Horton. He advised Mr. Horton to keep his hands up and step out of the vehicle. Mr. Horton complied. However, he jumped back in the vehicle, disregarding the officer's demand to stop. Along with the passengers who was in the vehicle, who told the defendant, "Don't do it." He entered the vehicle and fled the officer. The defendant does have a history, so the state is concerned about him as a flight risk as he fled the officer in this situation, and he had an outstanding case. So the state would recommend a $1,500 surety bond. That's $1,000 for the fleeing, $500 for the suspended registration, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while on bond, and no driving without a valid license, registration, and insurance. And I don't believe I stated, but the incident occurred at 5058 Old Nashville Highway. That's all for the state.
All right.
Your Honor, my client is 28 years old. He is gainfully employed. He tells me that he has an 8-month-old daughter that he takes care of himself. He has primary custody of her. And he also has another child on the way. He explained to me, Your Honor, that it was just that he was frightened when the officer pulled a gun on him. Because as the warrant said, he actually came out of the car and he stood up there, but the officer pulled a gun on him and he was scared. He thought he might have been shot. And that's when he jumped back into his car to get away. It was not because he was trying to flee from anything, because he had no warrant and it was not him they were looking for. He has no holes on him. So it clearly wasn't him, even though they thought it might have been that there might have been a warrant for his arrest. There wasn't one. He was just scared. He didn't want to end up dead, you know. He has a child on the way and a child that he was taking care of. And in the moment, he admits that it was foolish of him, but he said he was just scared. And that was all, Your Honor. He really is in no position to post bond. And based on the fact that this is a traffic-related offense, I would ask the court to consider giving him a signature bond on both of these charges, Your Honor, so he can get out of jail and go back home to take care of his little girl. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to order the $1,500 surety bond. It's 1,000 on the driving, the first charge, 500 on the second charge. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And no driving without a valid driver's license, registration, and insurance. And I think that's all. I won't order to stay away from that location because I assume that's just where he was pulled over.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Yeah, so I won't order to stay away from there. But just make sure he's got valid license, insurance, and tag and registration before getting back on the road to drive.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor, that concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
Yes, enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, Your Honor. You too.
Okay, you too.
Position 4, Mr. Johnson.
This is 23 CR 001422E. Kendrick Johnson, charged with 1 count of battery. The offense date is March the 9th, 2023. Pre-trial.
This is 8th arrest. I mean, hold on. GCR, let's see.
I was showing 6 cycles, Howard.
Yeah. However, let's see. He does have one out of Mississippi.
Huh?
He got a yeah, he got 6 cycles on the GCIC. Today's arrest make number 7, and Mississippi is 8. Last arrest was April 2022 in Mississippi. Felony carrying concealed weapon, controlled substance violation. Last arrest in Georgia, 2020 battery DV, 2020 misdemeanor possession of marijuana that was dismissed. 2020 possession of a knife or a firearm during a commission, possession of marijuana with intent. He ended up pleading NOLO to disorderly conduct.
Okay.
Yeah, he got a 2010 robbery. That's it.
All right, state.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened March 9th, 2023 at West End MARTA station at 680 Lee Street. Officers watched the defendant punch a gentleman by the name of DeVarlan, that is DeVarlan Williams. The officers saw him punch DeVarlan Williams in the face multiple times. And then when the officer approached, the defendant fled in a gray Hyundai. That officer then made contact with other officers who were able to stop the vehicle, were able to make contact with the vehicle. And at that point, the defendant was positively ID'd by the first officer who saw him punch DeVarlan Williams in the face. When they spoke with Mr. Williams, he stated that he was in a verbal altercation with the defendant, who then struck him multiple times. The defendant also caused Mr. Williams to have a cut on his left of his forehead above his left eye. We are not sure what the relationship is between these parties, Your Honor. We have attempted to make contact with Mr. DeVarlan Williams unsuccessfully. We were not able to reach him, but we are requesting, given the circumstances, one, the fact that the defendant has an outstanding bench warrant currently on 20 CR 006095E. That's a family violence battery case out of Fulton County, that he also has that NOLO disorderly conduct from 2020, as well as this newest April of 2022 case out of Mississippi. We do have concerns that both he is not a good risk as far as flight risk is concerned, but we also have concerns being that these are violent offenses in his previous history. For those reasons, we are requesting a $4,000 surety bond, that he stay away from MARTA. I will point out that MARTA has already issued a 365-day suspension for this incident, as well as no further contact with DeVarlan Williams and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. That's all for the state.
All right. PD Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Johnson is 30 years old and he is actually separated and going through the divorce. He does have a fiance who has a 1-month-old child of his. and he resides with his mother and his fiance and newborn baby right now. And he is a sole breadwinner for the family at this point. He is self-employed. He does a lot of movings for different people, and he used to work at Westin Hotel. He's been here for Georgia for a long time, and he has 11th grade. After 11th grade, he got the GED successfully. We would like to request for a signature on bond. Otherwise, maximum $1,000 good bond. And it is different victims, I believe. And the Mr. Williams is actually his cousin, according to my client. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to order the let me ask one last question. What is the relationship again with the victim and the defendant? Do we know? Or is it a stranger?
I believe PD Kim just said they're cousins.
Yes.
Cousins. Okay. All right, I'm gonna order the $4,000 surety bond. I'm gonna order stay away from 680 Lee Street. Do we know who lives there?
Your Honor, as I stated, this is a stay away from all MARTAs is what we're requesting.
Oh, not
because
just
of-
that station.
Right,
I'm sorry,
because
that's
of
the MARTA station.
Yeah, and because of the 365-day suspension that was issued as a part of this case, it's in the MARTA police report that they've already issued him a 365-day suspension, to my understanding, as far as all
From all.
stations are concerned.
Okay, from all. So if you're already under the 365 suspension from all MARTA, I'll continue that suspension and say that with this order, you should stay away from all MARTA. Do not ride anymore. You have to take ride shares, Ubers and Lyfts, things of that nature, but do not go back to MARTA, else you'll be rearrested. And so that 4,000 surety, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I think that's it. Anything else, counsel?
We also requested a no further contact with DeVarlin Williams.
And no further contact with DeVarlin Williams, the cousin. All right, that'll conclude this case.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mhm.
Position 5, Mr. Ryan Johnson.
This is 23 CR 001423Y, Ryan Johnson, charge of 1 count of criminal trespass. That offense date is March the 9th, 2023. Pretrial.
I got first arrest.
All right, state.
This incident happened March 9th, 2023 at the Crown Plaza Midtown at 590 West Peachtree Street Northwest. Frank McDaniel, who's the security guard at that location, told the defendant that he was not allowed on the property. The defendant was also given a verbal warning by an officer, which was reiterating what the security guard told him at about 7:30 a.m. He was then escorted off the property. Less than an hour later, security flagged down the officer again and reported the defendant had returned to the property and urinated on the side of the building. Based on the fact that this defendant does not have a criminal history, I will say that we did NOD the public indecency. We don't have, although he did urinate on the side of the building, we're not disputing that. We did not feel that it rose to the level of a public indecency charge. We are asking for a $3,000 pretrial services signature bond, a stay away from Crown Plaza at 590 West Peachtree Street Northwest, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. I don't know if this would necessitate a BHET. It is kind of odd that this is happening with no prior history. We could not locate a history either. So I'm not sure what PD Kim would have to offer in that aspect, but the state's recommendation will remain the same either way. Thank you.
Okay, and that amount again?
$3,000 signature bond, Your Honor, through pretrial services.
He lives in Milwaukee?
Okay, that makes a little more sense. I did not find an address. I did not see where his address was.
Yeah, I got a Milwaukee,
Okay.
West Fairmont. Street, Fairmount Avenue.
So I'm not sure what brought Mr. Johnson to our lovely city, but he is not welcome back to the Crown Plaza.
PD Kim, go ahead. See
Yes,
if you
Your
can
Honor.
shed some light a little bit.
Yes, actually, he has a special medical condition called epilepsy, and he is actually officially disabled. Because of that, his baby mother's mother is currently power of attorney to take care of his everyday matters, and they booked a hotel which has exactly same connection. They have a connection to the current hotel where he was arrested. There's a hotel called State Bridge, and he was actually having a family breakfast at the time. So I think he just didn't understand clearly what was going on. So we would like to actually ask for a signature bond through jail until he does not have he could not memorize his power of attorney's phone number, so I could contact. So we do need to get the number and contact so he can get out of that location and he can go to his baby mother's place. That's where we are right now, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, if Ms. Kim could check the chat.
Oh, okay. I didn't have enough chance to discuss that part, so I think signature on bond through jail might be better at this point.
Okay.
And
All right.
Your Honor, just to put on the record, given the fact that the defendant lives in Milwaukee, the state would like to extend a time served offer to Mr. Johnson to resolve this case so he will not have to come back.
May I please have a moment with Mr. Johnson? Would you like to take the plea? I did not have any time to investigate what was going on and how it's going to impact anything else.
Could probably call the State Bridge and ask to talk to the people in room 2111. Ask to talk to either my baby mom or her mom.
Do you want to take the plea? That's what she wants.
What is the plea?
Okay, you don't have to talk anymore, Your Honor. I think at this point,
Yeah, sure.
I don't think he is clearly understanding what that means in terms of accepting the offer or of the plea. So we would like to move forward with a signature on bond through. Pretrial is fine too. So that way we can kind of follow up on his situation and find the power of attorney for his mother-in-law.
All right, I will order the $3,000 signature bond through the jail. And Mr. Johnson, it is your responsibility to keep your address current and to let your attorney know your address as well as the court clerk. At a minimum, your attorney should know how to reach you at all times. If not, you're going to miss court date. You'll get an FTA and we'll come looking for you and you'll be arrested again. So if you don't want that, you need to keep your whereabouts and your address current with PD Kim and her office. And so we'll let you go through the jail, but I want you to stay away from 590 West Peachtree Street, which is the Crown Plaza Hotel. You're to stay away from there. I'm sorry?
Oh, my, since I'm like just now getting here, I went to the Social Security building and I have my address down as their address.
Oh, the hotel?
For mailing.
That's the second time I've heard that today of using, well, the other one was the church and now this is the hotel. I don't think that's a positive or correct thing to do, especially where you're not going to be wanted there. You're not going to be able to go back there to pick up any mail. And I know they're not going to receive it for you. They're just going to say return to sender. This is not a residential address for anybody to live.
No, she gets the mail for me and my power of attorney. She's living in a hotel.
I do have a room number and exactly which hotel it is. I'll call and follow up with his power of attorney, Your Honor.
Does she work there?
No,
She
she's
stays there, living there.
living there, but the room is not in her name because she had the bank account closed, but it's in my baby mother's name.
Yeah, that makes it even more complicated.
I can call the room and let them know I'm in jail. They probably be like, damn, he's in jail. They probably don't even know I'm in jail.
Oh, but PD Kim will continue to do her investigation and follow up. More and more almost wanting you to use pretrial because we need to have a way to keep up with you, make sure you come back to court.
And Your Honor, the state would reiterate, if he doesn't live in Milwaukee, if he's living here in Georgia now, he can go through pretrial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
but
what it sounds like.
this sounds kind of crazy though, Judge. I don't really know where he lives. We kind of talking in circles.
Yeah.
And we don't babysit people. I want y'all to know that now. We don't
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know you don't. Well, I'm going to err a little bit here. I don't know. I'm saying on the side of caution, but I don't know what side my caution is on. Mr. Johnson, let me ask you this interesting question. Do you have a cell phone?
I do not.
Do you have access to use one?
No.
That's a yes or no. Okay, if you don't, you don't. Not everybody does. See, those are the reasons why we would have you to go through pretrial somehow. And I'm, you're not working, correct?
No, he's not
He's
working.
on disability.
Okay, you do get a disability check?
Yes.
Yes.
And don't tell me that comes to the hotel. Or does it? I'm scared to ask.
My baby mom, she gets my check and she has my food stamp card with her.
And she has an address that's not the hotel?
No, she's residing at the hotel right now.
So your power of attorney and your baby mama, is that the same?
They guess something, they got kicked out of the last house. They were staying at in Detroit.
So is the power of attorney and your baby's mother the same person?
No.
No.
Okay, those are two different people.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I don't want to make Mr. Howard angry and put him to work and make him work too hard to try to keep up with you. So I'm gonna do it through jail, but promise me that you're gonna keep up with PD Kim and you're gonna bring her an address.
The address would be the hotel.
I know. Well, you need to confirm all of that once you get out. And if anybody has money to go get a PO box or something and check it and find out. I don't like people using the hotels for addresses because they usually don't stay there long. But I'm going to trust that you are going to do the right thing and make sure that PD Kim knows where you are at all times. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So that's $3,000 signature bond through the jail. But stay away. And I'm ordering you to stay away. You can't go back there. They don't want to see you back there at 590 West Peachtree Street. You can't go back to the Crown Plaza. So you're going to have to find, huh?
They're not residing at the Crown Plaza. That's the point.
Can he go to a state bridge that is actually connected to that Crown Plaza?
As long as I don't go to Crown Plaza.
All right. And give her your updated address, whatever that may be, as soon as you can. Stay away from there. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond, except for anything prescribed to you. Okay?
Correct.
All right. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Positions 6, Mr. Joseph.
CR 001430E, Philip Joseph, You're charged with 1 count of simple assault, family violence, and 2 counts of simple battery, family violence. Defense date is March the 4th, 2023. Pretrial?
Judge, I don't have that one. I defer to the state.
Oh, okay. State?
This is his second cycle. His first arrest was a DUI in 2000, so it's quite remote. Going into this offense, it happened March 4th, 2023 at 730 Anna Lane in Alpharetta. The defendant's 2 sons, Tony and Timmy Phillip. Timmy Phillip is here on the line, as well as his wife. And I apologize if I mispronounce your name, Ms. Phillip, Natho Phillip. That is Naitho. Mr. Tony and Timmy Phillip came over to the house to visit. The defendant told police that his sons tried to leave the house and he stepped in front of them to prevent them from leaving, and that they placed their hands on his neck and pushed him out of the way. But he couldn't give an explanation to the police about why, just out of nowhere, his sons would attack him. So then they spoke with Mr. Tony and Tommy Phillip and received a different version of events. When they spoke with Mr. Tony Phillip, he stated he had come to New York. He had come to the address from New York to have an intervention regarding his father's drinking. When they tried to talk to him about his father's drinking, the defendant ran upstairs, began cursing at his wife, Mrs. Phillip, then came back downstairs, began pushing Timmy and Tony in the chest. At that point, Mr. Timmy Phillip then pushed back in self-defense. The defendant then lunged at his wife, Miss Natho Phillip, as though he were going to strike him, which then forced Mr. Timmy and Tony Phillip to take their father to the ground to protect their mother. When asked at the scene whether she was in fear for her safety or her life, from the defendant, Miss Natho Phillip did state she was, that she believed she was going to be struck by him, which is the basis for the simple assault charge. We did have a chance, our victim advocate did have a chance to speak with Miss Phillip. She stated that she has some concerns with the defendant's drinking and anger issues. She stated that the defendant has dementia and sometimes does not understand everything he's doing, and he did start undergoing medication currently. She did state that he had called her from the jail yesterday saying whoever put me in jail is going to pay, and that she is concerned for him to return to his home. She is currently looking for treatment options. However, we do have kind of a unique issue in this case, being that the defendant was arrested on March 4th and today is March 10th. And for that reason, we are going to have to give a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services. That's going to be $2,000 on each of the simple batteries and $1,000 on the simple assault. We are also asking for no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, 1 day anger awareness. Stay away from 730 Anna Lane and no further contact with Miss Natho Phillip until such time as this can be revisited once he has received some sort of treatment. Miss Phillip and Mr. Phillip, Timmy Phillip, are on the line, and we would like the court to be able to address both of them. Thank you.
Are both your victims or just
No, they both are. Mr. Timmy Phillip was the victim of one of the simple battery charges, and Miss Natho Phillip is the victim on the simple assault charge.
all right? Let me talk with Timmy Phillip first, since he's unmuted. Mr. Phillip, can you address the court, or would you like to address the court?
Yes.
All right, raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
I do.
All right, put your hand down. And you live in New York, is that correct?
No, ma'am. I actually live in Decatur, 1173 Druid Walk, Decatur, Georgia, 30033. It's my older brother, Tony Phillip, that lives in New York.
Oh,
Yes,
the other
Your
one
Honor.
lives in New York.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. And your mom is here and your dad is here, correct?
that is correct.
And so are you all trying to get your dad into a treatment program?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. How old is your dad?
72.
But you don't have that program just quite yet.
No, my mom actually got a letter from a facility which we had provided by a text to the victim's advocate. that we have a position open for him at a facility in Duluth, and that they're able to take him ASAP.
Oh, good. Okay. Miss Phillip, can you unmute yourself, please? The little red microphone. Can she hear me? Miss Nathan Phillip?
I can, if you want, I can give her a call from my.
She's trying to talk. She can't probably.
Mr. Phillip.
There she goes.
Hello.
There you go. Yes.
There you go.
Good. Would you like to address the court?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Raise your right hand for me. Do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Put your hand down for me. So I understand you have your husband in a program in Duluth.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and I understand it's difficult, and I send you my concerns, and I understand how difficult this is. But I am glad to hear that you have put him in placement or have him in a bed somewhere, because that's very important to get him some assistance. My next question is, do you know how he's going to get there?
We as a family have spoken about that, and I have a friend who's a Chambly Police Department officer who is arranging transportation. He's either trying to do it himself or a colleague of his that is willing to receive my dad at the jail and take him straight to the facility.
You're answering all my questions. Those are all the concerns we have, because I certainly would not want to give him a signature bond and then he, gets lost or doesn't show up or doesn't make it to that facility. And a lot of times it is very difficult for them to come pick up or to come timely, because the jail will be moving and wanting to get him out of there to some extent when they're ready. So you will need to communicate with them as far as the time of his release, or what I can do is put in the bond order that he not be released to, I don't know. Do you want me to say the family and or this facility or the Chambly Police Department representative? What would you like me to put in this bond order? Mainly, number one being that he is not to be released on his own recognizance, obviously. But
right.
I would like to put a little bit more detail if I can.
I totally understand. What I can do is I'm going to reach out to my friend today. He unfortunately was working the night shift and is unavailable right now. He's usually free after 5. So I was going to give him a call at 5 o'clock and see what his availability is. I guess for my end, if there's a phone number I can get to relay to him so he can reach out and coordinate the situation, that would be great.
Well, they're going to get mad at me if I wait till after 5 to call them to complete my bond order. So my bond order is going to need to be completed before then. So this is what I'm going to do. Sergeant Norris?
Yes.
I'm going to put in his bond order that he not be released to anyone except either a representative from, do you know the name of this facility in Duluth, Miss?
Yes, it's the addiction recovery workplace at Duluth.
You may need to state that one more time for us.
Addiction recovery works in Duluth.
Okay, addiction recovery, and the last word is works.
Yeah, WORKS. They do, they do have a letter. I had forwarded it to this afternoon.
Okay, great. That is good.
It's in the file.
Okay, wonderful. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to order a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. However, the jail is instructed not to release Mr. Phillip until the addiction recovery works picks him up, or a Chambly Police Department official comes to get him, or a family member comes. I'm going to do that third backup just in case you can't get the police representative, but either Timmy or Miss Natho can get there and get him and take him there.
Your Honor,
So-
and just,
Mhm.
and this is not to insult anyone, but just to put it on the, I would prefer that Mr. Timmy Phillip or Tony Phillip given.
Oh, I'm sorry, not Miss Natho, because she's the victim.
Right, I would just
sorry.
prefer that it not be Miss Natho Phillip, because I feel like that may put her at a disadvantage. I
It
feel
will.
like it would probably be better for one of the sons to pick.
Thank
him.
you. Yeah, I certainly agree with you.
Can I say something?
Yes,
In
ma'am.
case, if he goes, he has to have somebody with him because he's also mad at him.
Oh, he's mad at Timmy too. He's probably mad at all three of you.
He's mad at
all
the
of our
whole
family members.
world, the
Right.
whole world.
He's probably mad at, yes, and that is pretty normal and typical. We just want to get help for Mr. Joseph so that he can be stabilized to return home eventually. Right now he cannot, and right now he needs to go to this facility to get some help and assistance so that we don't see you all ever again down here. That is the
correct.
goal. Yeah, that is the goal.
Thank you.
Just out of
Mhm.
curiosity, I'm sorry, Judge. When I contact my friend at the Chamblee Police Department, is there a phone number I can give him so he can like coordinate as to when he can come and pick him up?
That's what I was gonna ask Sergeant Norris. Now, he's going to be out within what, 24 hours possibly?
Yes, within 24 hours.
And what is the general number there that Mr. Phillips should call?
404
Mm-hmm.
404
2050.
612. Mhm, go ahead.
404 612 2050.
Yes, that's central control.
Okay. So what I will do is I will forward this phone number to my friend who's a police officer, and he can coordinate the picking him up and dropping him off at the facility.
And I will tell you, the sooner the better.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him
yeah.
a call. I'm gonna wake him up right now, so we should be
All
okay.
right, then you're gonna have somebody else mad at you, see?
No, he's a really good friend of mine, so we're all good.
All right, well, I wish you all much success with that. PD Kim, do you have anything to add? I certainly would not want to leave you out.
No, nothing further.
All right.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. What was that
Yes.
breakdown for the signature bond?
That's 1,000 on the simple assault and 2,000 each on the simple battery charges for a total of 5,000.
Excuse me, Judge, can we go? So is there a no further contact with the family members, or are we taking the no further contact off it just to stay away?
And Your Honor, the state would modify that to no further violent contact because it appears that throughout this process, he is going to need to have contact with the Phillips.
Right. And Miss Natho, and I see and I understand your concerns and your fear, and it is valid, and we're certainly not diminishing it in any regard. But in case there are documents that you would need to sign, or your son or both of you, that is the biggest reason. Because if we say no further contact, but they need information from you on his history, or you to sign, that is the
Yes,
only
yes.
reason. Other than that, we don't want him to have much contact with you at all, and you
Yes.
be very careful.
Yes.
But
Yes.
just to get some help, okay?
Thank you. God bless you.
All right, thank you. All right, you all take care.
Hey,
You have a good day.
All right, you too. All right,
Judge.
bye-bye.
I have Timmy Phillip to check the chat.
Oh, Timmy, can you check your chat real quick?
Let me see here.
See that? And I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Ms. Strong, did you have any other questions? God, I didn't want to be confusing
I
to you.
did. So
404.
Okay.
a stay
he's
away
got
or no
another
stay
number.
away?
A stay away. I guess we can do a stay away, Deputy Falk, at least. Yeah, let's do the
Yes.
stay away.
Because
In
I
case he gets
still
out
think
and,
right
you
now,
know.
he does not need to be in the home.
right, yeah. We're gonna definitely do the stay away and no further violent contact with the two victims. Okay,
Yeah,
That works.
we make sure he's going to be taken to the facility today. I have made all the arrangements.
yes, well, we're gonna put that responsibility on your son, Timmy.
Yes,
Yeah,
And I think he has it under control.
yes,
And
I'll
ma'am.
work it out.
if, you know, he's gonna do what you say, I have a feeling, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
good
you.
luck
Thank you.
to you all. All right,
Have a
thank
good
you.
day.
You too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Mr. Joseph Philip, please use your constitutional right to remain silent.
Yes. Mr. Joseph, we're just getting help for you. And so please cooperate with the assistance right now. And as your attorney stated, I am not going to hear from you, but you will be picked up to go to your next location. Good luck to you.
Well, I cannot say nothing because they have chances to talk and I don't have no chance to talk, right?
This is not a trial. This is a bond hearing.
So if they have to go, then I can bring a lawyer too here, you know.
Your lawyer has done a great job representing you under the circumstances. If you continue to talk, it may go a different
No,
way.
I need to talk through my lawyer, you know, this is attorney.
She will call you. She will call
I'll be happy to call you, Mr.
Your Honor, I'm not a foolish. I came in this country and I worked 36 years, Wellstar Hospital as a respiratory therapist. And these people having all united and they are accusing me. I have to go through fight in this case. Through right
Mr.
cases.
Joseph Gillett, you will have a chance at another day. I'll give you a call and explain to you.
Please, please.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, and I need the money because I worked hard in this country. We are joint account together because
Okay.
I have to take some more money because I don't have nothing
Please
in my pocket.
remain silent. Would you please mute?
Yeah, thank you. All right. All right, you can sign off, Miss Phillip, and
Thank you.
again,
Thank
we
you.
wish you much success, okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, you're welcome.
Position 8, Mr. Reynolds.
This is 23 CR 001428J. Is that Kahari Reynolds? And I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your first name. You're charged with 1 count of battery family violence, and the offense date is March the 8th, 2023. Pre-trial?
Kahari, like a basketball player.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kahari. Okay. All right.
Ready?
Pre-trial? Yes.
All right. Let's see. This is 5th arrest. Last arrest was 2017 conviction for simple battery. That's 17 CR 018533E as in Edward. But it came off of 2016 arrest, but it was a conviction in 2017. 2016 battery DV, disorderly conduct, pled NOLO to both. That was out of DeKalb County. Misdemeanor possession of marijuana from 2010 NOLO. That's it.
All right. State.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This is George Agbe on behalf of the state. This offense date took place on March 9th, 2023 at 1873 Vesta Avenue, number 4, East Point, Georgia. Officers responded to a fight call. Upon arrival, they met with the victim in this case, Sean Boykin, who was a roommate to the defendant. He advised an argument occurred over rent. And during that argument that the defendant called Mr. Boykin a faggot, which led to obviously an argument. Mr. Boykin admitted to pushing Mr. Reynolds, and then in return, the defendant punched Mr. Boykin in the face. Officers observed Mr. Boykin having a swollen lip and was bleeding from his mouth. Your Honor, there is a concern to danger to the society with 2 prior family violence battery. This would be his 3rd family violence battery arrest. The first 2, one was disposed of with a NOLO, and the other was reduced down to a simple battery, and they're fairly recent. There is also a fear of intimidating witnesses as these are roommates and they live together. Your Honor, with these things in mind, the state would be requesting a $3,000 surety bond. No further contact with the listed victim in this case, to stay away from that address, and while under supervision, no alcohol or drugs or weapons.
All right. PD Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Reynolds is 36 years old and he was born and raised here in Georgia. He has his mother, and he was actually planning to move out from that location anyway. So he does not want to, he has no objection to stay away or no further contact. Only thing is though, Mr. Boykin actually evicted my client illegally by changing locks, and all his personal belongings were still inside of the house, and he didn't have any chance to retrieve his personal belongings. My client is employed at 2 different locations, Mangoes and Dantanta. She does janitor work, and she also does a lot of maintenance work, and she completed GED. My client recorded the whole incident, and there's a live stream that he can prove that he was not the first aggressor. As ASG Igby said, Mr. Sean Boykin pushed my client first, as he admitted, and my client did not punch him. He denies the allegation. We would like to request for signature on bond or maximum $1,000 good bond. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to order a $3,000 surety bond. I'm going to order stay away from 1873 Vesta Avenue, apartment 4, I believe you stated,
Yes, Your Honor.
in East Point. I'm going to order no further contact with Sean Boykin, the victim in this case. I'm going to allow one-time police escort to go get your personal belongings, but it must be done with the police escort. Do not go back alone. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And that should be it. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
10, position 10, Mr. Talia,
Okay.
Talia Farrell.
This is 23 CR 001432F. Gregory, is it Talaferro? Okay. You're charging 1 count of failure to keep in proper lane, 2nd count of DUI under the influence of alcohol as safe, both with the offense date of May 29th, 2021. Pre-trial? I'm sorry?
He got some out-of-state stuff. New York, 2014. Driving while intoxicated. Conviction. He has 2 cycles from the U.S. Army, 2010 simple assault, 2010 another simple assault, and 2020 out of Georgia for battery DV. That's open in state court. 22 CR 003 968F. That's it.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is offense date. It is May 29, 2021. Officers responded to a accident on 285 eastbound near College Park in Fulton County. There they approached what it was appeared to be a disabled car on the far left side of the road. Defendant was located in the driver's side of the car. He advised he was hit by another car on his left side, and that car did not stay on the scene. Officer observed no damage to the left side of the defendant's car, but damage to the right side of the car, and also that the right passenger side tire was missing. Officers also observed skid marks leading up to the car's resting spot. While speaking to the defendant, officers observed slurred speech, red glassy eyes, and the odor of alcohol coming from the car and the person, and also the defendant's inability to maintain his balance. Defendant stated that he had no medical issues, but was transported to the hospital and was issued citations for failure to maintain lane and DUI less safe. As stated previously, there is a prior DUI from 2014 in New York. Your Honor, the state's recommendation is a on count one, failure to maintain lane is a $500 surety bond. On count two, a $3,000 surety bond for a total of $3,500. No alcohol or drugs while on bond, and no weapons as well. Also, no driving unless to work, home, court, or to meet with his attorney.
All right. PD Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Talia Farrell is 36 years old and he's from Maryland. However, he has been here in Georgia for more than years. He has his own business, pressure washing company. He's working there. Your Honor, he successfully completed associate degree Atlanta Technical University. He has HVAC, special professional skills. Of course, he moved. He moved from. He was stationed here in the Georgia for the Army from 2009 to 2012. After he was discharged from the Army, he chose to stay here and he's been here ever since. He pleaded not guilty because he denies the allegation. He was not drunken. He was involved in the accident. He never had a citation at that time. So he is very shocked that there was actually two citations that he never even received the copies of. We would like to request for less safe, maximum $1,000 good bond, and proper lane change. We would like to request for 500 signature on bond through jail, since it is a driving citation. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, State. You were going to say something?
No, nothing, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. All right. I will do the split bond. I'm going to order on the first charge, failure to keep in proper lane, a $500 signature bond through the jail. And the second charge, DUI, less safe, a $3,000 surety bond. I'm going to order no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond, except for those prescribed to you. And I'm going to order no driving unless you're going to work, and obviously coming back home, and to court or to meet with your attorney. And I have to add one more, is for medical assistance. If you have to go to the hospital, I guess, and you can drive yourself. But otherwise you should be home and not driving, just because of your history. And I think that is it, but I do see your hand up and I'm sure PD Kim is going to tell you not to talk.
You have a right to remain silent. You will have a day to prove that your innocence. So today it's only for bond and judge has a ruling. So let's go with it.
Unless you have any questions about your bond conditions, but I think I've been pretty clear about those. All right. Maybe he's telling Sergeant Norris who will. Does he have a valid question or a safe question for us, Sergeant Norris?
Is it hospital? I mean, he can talk to Ms. Kim for his
Later. Okay,
Yeah.
she'll call him.
I'll be
She'll call
happy
him
to
and talk to
call.
him later.
Yes.
All right. I have two announcements. Position
Yes.
7 waived his appearance. Mr. Lawson,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Mhm.
And position 9 is medical reset.
Okay.
I'll submit the waiver of appearance form as soon as I can, Your Honor, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we are finishing courtroom 2.
All right. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. We're going to do position 7. This is 23 CR 001431C. Charles Lawson, charged with 1 count of certain acts on a bus, rail, or station prohibited. 2nd count of criminal trespass. The offense date is March the 8th, 2023. Pretrial.
All right, let me know when you heard enough.
Okay. Oh, boy.
43 total.
All right.
Last arrest was last month for trespass out of East Point. December, criminal trespass. It was dead, doctor, it says. September, trespass NOLO out of Clayton County. He pled NOLO to a PI charge from 2021. 2020 trespass arrest. 2019 possession of drug-related objects. 2018 trespass. Another 2018 trespass. Another 2018 trespass. And another one. Yeah, and
How
one
many
more.
was that? 5?
It's a lot.
Okay. All
2017
right. Give me that 2017, then you can stop.
Well, now 2017 looks the same as 2018.
Oh,
It's a lot.
okay. Okay. And all of them are criminal trespass?
Yeah, most of them.
Okay. Okay. All right, state.
Yes, Your Honor. This offense date took place on March 8th, 2023 at 30 Alabama Street, Atlanta, Georgia, at a MARTA station in MARTA Transit. MARTA police observed the defendant, Mr. Lawson,
Excuse me.
walking. They observed Mr. Lawson walking and going through the emergency doors while the train was in motion in transit. Once stopped, officers informed the defendant that action was prohibited and inquired to his identification. Once detained, they were able to ascertain his identity and that he also had 2 active suspensions from being on MARTA premises. Your Honor, he has a extensive criminal history with arrests, including drug offenses and public indecency. Has several trespass offenses as well, convictions on his record. With that in mind, the state's recommendation would be a $2,000 surety on both charges, to stay away from all MARTA properties and to refrain from any alcohol, drugs, or possession of weapons while on bond.
Okay. All right, PD Kim.
Yes, Mr. Lawson, he actually is residentially challenged. He has been homeless for the last 2 years and he does not have a phone. He does not have anybody who he can contact. So any bond will be no bond for him. After graduating from high school, he has been here in Georgia all time. At this point, I am asking for social worker services to have a visit there to make sure that he does not have any behavioral health issues. So other than that, we have no objection, Your Honor. Thank you.
And Your Honor, I just want to clarify, I wasn't sure if I was clear, that the state's recommendation is for a $1,000 surety bond on count 1 and a $1,000 surety on count 2 for a total of $2,000 surety bond in this matter.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I did have that incorrect. Thank you. All right. So I will order the $2,000 surety bond, $1,000 on each of the charges. I'm going to order stay away from all MARTA and to comply with any active suspensions, which I understand there are 2 in place. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And I think that will be it. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing from the state.
All right. And that concludes us for today, looks like. And we've got Miss Strong with us today.
Yes, ma'am.
I hope I haven't confused you too much today.
No, ma'am. Okay. We ready to go over the calendar?
Yes.
Okay, so position number one was a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per judge. Position number two was a $5,000 cash bond, reset for SAP March 23rd. Position number three was a $1,500 good bond, reset for March 23rd SAP. Position number four was a $4,000 good bond, reset for March 23rd SAP. Position number five was a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. Position number six was a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. Position number seven is a $2,000 good bond reset for March 23rd SAP. Position number eight was a $3,000 good bond reset for March 23rd SAP. Position number nine was a medical reset, and position number 10 was a $3,500 split bond, $500 signature bond through the jail on the first charge, $3,000 good bond on the second charge, and that will be reset for March 23rd as well.
All right, I think you got it all. Anybody else? All right, Deputy Falk, have a good weekend, everyone.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
All right, thank you. Take care, Ms. Kim.